How are you, Dave?
Here we go. Good afternoon. How are we doing?
Good. Good evening. How are you?
I'm very good. And yourself?
Doing great. Doing great. As you can probably see, I am not in the office today. I am off site and out of the office this week. So no complaints. Excuse my casual appearance. But I am here. I would never miss tea and poetry. This is a staple for me. This is what I look forward to every week and much more. But this is an important hour plus that means a lot to me and I know to you and to the whole community here. So it's great to be here. And I see we have Mr. Fox is joining us as well.
What's up, guys?
How are you?
Hey, B, how we doing?
Hold on a second. See if we got some camera action in the house.
I see multiple cameras in the house.
Yeah.
Multiple cameras in the house.
Yeah, we do.
Excellent. How are you, Doreen? Good, Doreen, it's always good to have you here. And of course, welcome. I want to welcome a special guest who is with B. Fox over in Baltimore, a gentleman by the name of Dave Epstein, who has in town for an extended period of time, doing some collaboration with us as a whole. And I want to welcome Dave Epstein to Tea and Poetry.
Yeah,
and,
I think we're going to talk today and get more on that soon, aren't we?
Nice, yes, absolutely. And, you know, it's, you know, tomorrow we're on the eve of World Sight Day. And I want to, you know, make sure that we're going to talk about that as well. And, you know, it's great to be here. As, you know, it's great to see a lot of familiar faces out there, new faces as well. And I just want to go through all the prereqs before we get started. If you want to join us, and when I say when you join us, I mean as it's the four of us here right now. If you want to join us, you can raise your hand. When you raise your hand, I will bring you in on the first available opportunity. And you have the option for video and audio. We encourage you to leave your video on, but if you're feeling shy, just go with the audio. We also, you can post anything in the chat or the Q&A. I am constantly monitoring everything throughout the conversation. So you want to get my attention, you can again, raise your hand or post something in Q&A or the chat, and I will be happy to respond or say something publicly. If you want to post something anonymously, whatever you're comfortable with, that's what we're here for. So without further ado, I want to hand it over to Dave.
Lots to talk about. We always start with a poem. I explain this every week, but for those new people out there, I like to kind of get the thoughts of everyone out there on the words that I write and the message that's in there. And I picked this one for a reason, and I hope you all can relate to it. When darkness is surrounding everything that you can't see, remember you are not alone. It's not just you, it's we. For I am right beside you in this tunnel that we share, in our world forever fading as for blindness we prepare. Sometimes we don't know what to do or how to carry on. The strength that we feel desperate for, like perfect vision gone. But we should be reminded that the scars of yesterday, no matter what tomorrow brings, together find a way. You're never on your own with this. I'll always be right here. In this blind poet's message is a friend to catch a tear. For I don't only write these words, I mean each single one. If you can't see, just lean on me till bad-eye days are gone.
Wow. Right on. I am going to hand it over to B. Fox. And Dave, is it okay if I unmute you? Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. So I've unmuted Dave as well. Dave, can you? Oh, here we go. How are you, Dave?
I am awesome, thank you. How are you?
Hey, good to see you, my friend.
And you, Dave, welcome. Good to see you again.
I know. Absolutely. I wanted to talk about that piece that Dave just read, but did you, Dave, did you guys connect when you were in New Jersey in January? Did you guys have an opportunity to talk?
Yeah, I mean, briefly we kind of
Very
connected.
briefly.
We knew each other before, so you know, it was the first.
Ah,
Come on, it was the first time us meeting, kind of, you know, face to face. But you know, we
Yes.
knew each other way before Jersey.
oh, very
Yes,
nice.
yes. It was a brief encounter with all the mayhem going on.
Absolutely.
But it was a great intro, a great face to name, the old across the pond thing. But
Yeah,
that,
absolutely.
and I joined in on his reading of bedtime stories. That was so cute, Dave. Oh my goodness. Oh,
Yeah, I was just going to say, Barry, Ben and Dave joined. For those people out there who don't know, my youngest son, Austin, who's 7 years old, we do most nights, I do bedtime stories with him. And from my personal Facebook page, we do Facebook Live bedtime stories. We've done it since he was about 3 years old, and he's 7 now. And what we do is every night we have some fun, we have a laugh, and we read some bedtime stories, and we just be us. And the thing, my wife has always encouraged this, because she always says, while you've still got vision, you know, some useful vision, and you can read certain stories, you know, as long as the text is big enough to do it. And as you can see, Dave, you know, we join in that tonight. We always have a laugh. He's got some character. So yeah, it was nice to have you on that tonight and joining
indeed.
in.
Thank you. I'm not surprised that he steals the show 18 out of 18 times. Not surprised.
Yeah, and you know, he's top of his class with his reading as well. So you know, it just goes to show, you read stories to your children from a young age, it really does do them wonders, and it sticks. And I'm at the point now where, because my vision's not great now, especially recently, a lot of the stories, for example, one of the stories, I think it was the first story I read tonight, I was actually reading a lot of that from memory, because a lot of the stories that I read will be by an author, by a British author by the name of Julia Donaldson, and she writes short poetic stories. So all her stories are in poetry form, and because it has that rhythm, it's like remembering song lyrics. So I can kind of remember the stories, which, you know, is great when you're not being able to see the words.
Yes.
So I want to give a quick shout out to, there is another Steele family member on TM Poetry right now. Yes, a young lady by the name of Ellie, and I want to publicly apologize to Ellie, because last week Ellie had her hand up and we just couldn't. There wasn't an opportunity to pause.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of time last week.
So I wanted to just extend that apology and apologize to Ellie. So recognize that you're here, and we're happy that you were joining us, and it's good to have you here on a continuous basis. So
yeah,
it makes me very proud.
It makes me very proud that she's on there. For those of you that don't know, Ellie is my daughter. She lives in Scotland with her mum. She's staying at her grand's tonight in Glasgow, and she is my absolute world. Yes, you know, she's nearly 13. It's her birthday in a few weeks. So we're counting the days to that now. She's going to be a teenager soon, although she already acts like a teenager. But we'll won't go there. But it's great to have her on the calls.
Awesome. I just want to also put something out there that Dave Epstein, who did travel from the West Coast to Baltimore, who's spending extended spare time, I do want to stress that Dave went through COVID testing prior to his trip. So I just want to let everyone know that we are very mindful of COVID, very mindful of social distancing. Hence, you guys are probably in the same house, but separate rooms right now, it looks like, or close by. And no, social distancing is happening. And again, I hope everyone is staying healthy. And, you know, again, there are these pockets out there, but I'm pretty confident that overall things are going in the right direction. So
absolutely. I'm just looking at the list of people got out there. The numbers are growing every week. We've got some great people on the call tonight. Some very special people on the call tonight. I know we've already mentioned a few. I want to get talking about Dave and talking about his story, about what he does, because I really like him to be our special guest tonight. We seem to have, you know, a special guest every week, and Dave, I'm honored that you are with us tonight for that. But also, you know, I just want to give a big mention to someone very, very special to me, other than my daughter Ellie, obviously, and B Fox and yourself, Barry, who is on the call for the first time in quite a few weeks.
I
because
see
she's
that person.
been going on doing her own thing. This time last year, for those of you that don't know, I was getting ready to come out to the States and do my first USA book tour on the East Coast and meet Barry for the first time. And that is all down to one person. We often speak on these calls about how I've connected so many different people on these calls. I introduced Barry and Ben, and a few other different people we've spoken to in previous weeks. But the person that's on the call tonight, Barb Calhoun, who is the one that really started this whole thing off and brought me to America. So without her, none of this would be happening.
That is 100% correct. Credit is due where credit is due. And Barb, if you would like to come on and say a few words, we'd love to have you join us. I don't want to just bring you in. So if you want to join us, please raise your hand. Don't be a stranger. Yeah, raise your hand. And up there, that hand is up. And I'm going to bring, and Dave, I promise you, with Dave Epstein, we're going to get back to you. But I do want to bring Barb on because Barb is such an integral part here. And I want to make sure. Hey, Barb, how are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Oh, so good to see you.
Yeah, I'm glad that I finally cleared up my schedule to show up, on time too. Well, I was only 4 minutes late. So
You've been very, very busy. So it's been a while. It's been a minute since you were on this call, and
right.
it's kind of grown a lot since you were last here. So there's a lot of people out there watching and listening who are maybe hearing about you for the first time. So can you just kind of briefly give an explanation to how we connected and how you've played this part in bringing me over?
Sure. So when I first got my diagnosis of RP, and I was really struggling with it, and so I came across, actually my sister told me about Dave Steele's Stand By Me RP Facebook page. So I jumped on there, started reading his poetry. I think this was about the same time as you were getting your first book out there, maybe right before it. And I was just truly moved by your poetry and just struggling a long time with kind of like how to explain to people what it was like to not only go blind, but just to be blind. And so a lot of times I would just forward a lot of your poetry to people and be like, this is what it's like, and get really excited when I would read the poetry. So then I just kind of moved into this movement of let's get Dave Steele to the US. And it just kind of launched from there. A lot of people were interested, but nobody really knew how to accomplish it. And I remember I had met Barry's dad, Dr. Tom. He was my doctor for some glasses that I had received from the low vision shop. And I just I wonder what if they would be interested. So I reached out to Dr. Tom. He said, well, you would definitely want to talk to Barry. So then Barry and I get connected, and lo and behold, while I've been trying to figure out when Barry and I can connect, Barry finally came across your work and was like, who is this guy? This guy sounds amazing. So when we connected, we realized that we both had very, very similar goals. He wanted to meet you and bring you on and to get you connected with the blind community here in the US. And I was eager to bring you here because so many of us had been talking about how you had inspired us as the blind community to remain strong and somewhat okay and proud with being in that community. And so, once we made all those connections, everything just started one by one working out. And it just, now the two of you are an amazing duo, and it's growing because now you've got Ben Fox in your trio, and it was Lanny D, was a part of that as well, which I know we miss him dearly. And so, but yeah, so it just sort of grew, and now it is what it is now with tea and poetry with Dave Steele. So it's pretty neat to see that it's grown so much.
Yeah, but look how much you've come on as well.
Well, I
you
kind of like branched off a little bit and started doing my own thing. So it's been
but
interesting.
that's amazing. You went from that early stage of, as you said there, right at the beginning, having your diagnosis and trying to come to terms with it. And even when we first met, when I came out on the tour this time last year, almost, it was the 27th, I think it was the 27th of October that I flew out, and we met at Barry's office for the first time. I've still got the video on my phone of coming
remember
down the
that.
elevator. Yeah, coming down the elevator and you walking in the door and walking into this kind of whirlwind of literally you walked in the door and we were doing a photo shoot.
Yes.
And it was like camera and pizza chucked in your face, and that was it. But you obviously were very nervous about it all, and you were still trying to come to terms with a lot of things. But now you just seem to be going from strength to strength, and I just want to I'm so proud of you. So proud of you.
Thank you. Well, honestly, as somebody who was, I guess I can say like disabled, I just didn't have a lot of people to look up to. And I know with you that I had somebody to look up to, that I could do what I wanted to do and reach others, and also Barry showed me that as well. It was just, and Lanny D as well. Like, everyone's writing books and putting them out there and leading people. And I thought, okay, I can redefine what it means to have Usher syndrome. I don't have to just sit here and just wait to go deaf and blind. I can be moving forward and being, successful. So many thanks to you guys as well.
I mean, you've only just mentioned that as well, the fact that it's not RP that you actually got Usher syndrome. And that, how we met was when you eventually kind of started reading my poetry. You sent me a message asking me if you could perform one of my poems from the first book in ASL at a poetry slam. And I was like, absolutely, please send me a video. And I remember getting that video of you doing My Blind Secret. And, that poem, out of all the poems from that first book, is the one that has kind of made a massive impact, and it'll always be really special to us.
Yeah. And that was when you and Amy called me.
Yeah, I remember it very well.
Facebook Messenger.
Yeah,
and we were packing our house, and I'm like, Dave Steele's calling me. What do I do? And Paul's like, well, you should answer it. So anyways, yeah.
But yeah,
I'm trying to find. I have pictures. Oh, here it is. I'm just trying to find a picture from that evening.
Oh yeah, the group picture.
Yeah, well, we took a lot of pictures. Here. This is the picture that I wanted. This is the picture. So I'm going to, with your permission, Barb, I'm going to do a little screen share.
She signed a waiver.
Now.
It's fine. You can stick anything you like on it.
Give you permission.
All right, here we go. I don't want to. I don't like to just to bring things, throw things out there. But this is for those. This is a picture. You guys, can you see this?
Yep.
Okay. So we have
That's
a picture
awesome.
up on the screen right now of Dave Steele and Barb together, posing together. Barb literally did not know what she was getting herself into as she literally walked off the plane in Baltimore, straight to our office. We had just wrapped up a day. Dave was keynote speaker at the Maryland Department of Rehabilitation Services annual conference. Dave is dressed up in his in a tweed, a really handsome tweed suit. Barb is wearing a mustard orange yellow scarf and a paisley type of print on her jacket, if you want to call it, and a black blouse, if that looks correct. And Dave's wearing a white button-down shirt with a vest, really looking sharp. Dave's wearing glasses. Barbara's wearing her customized optical systems, her special glasses with that matching yellow tint, which is awesome, which I love. And it was a wonderful evening. I remember we ordered pizza for everyone, and that was an incredible time. That evening was the first time that Dave and Barb actually met face to face for the first time. So.
Yeah, and as far as the tour, I think over the coming weeks, when we get into kind of the anniversary of the tour, we touched on it last week. We're going to kind of be reliving a lot of those moments, and Barb was there for quite a lot of it. She was there seeing me speak at the NFB conference where I sang "Stand By Me RP," not planned, and that was just quite an experience. and you were there for me meeting Jackie Wilson for the first time, which was an incredible goosebump moment.
Amazing.
Yeah, I just want to say hi to Jackie if she's mum's listening out there. Jackie actually broke a finger a couple of days ago, trapped it in the car door. I believe Julie got hold of you. Did Julie get hold of you?
Me?
She did, yes. So
Good.
I need to connect with her again.
Yeah, we've got a little surprise that Barbie's lining up for little Jackie Wilson. So
yes.
we will talk more about that in the coming weeks once we get it organised.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. So nice to have you here, Barb. So nice to have you. So I'm gonna, if it's okay, we'll keep you right here. I don't want you to go anywhere.
Okay, sounds good. I'm looking forward to hearing the guest speaker.
Oh.
Well,
Let's go back
we have a guest speaker tonight.
What?
What?
Talk about putting him on the spot.
Like,
Dave, now
yes.
we'll come to you for a little bit. Can you kind of introduce yourself and tell the people out there a little bit about your story?
Certainly, be honored. Thank you. But thanks so much for having me. This is a huge honor. Dave Epstein moved from Massachusetts to Arizona 5 years ago. So I went from the cold to the desert heat. It was glorious. I do have RP. My condition is RP with 7 degrees central vision and 0 dark adaptation. Sedona is a town full of stars. It's a dark sky community. So we try to keep the street lights and everything really down. The stars just pop. So they say. That's basically the history of my eyes. Long story of the eyes, obviously everybody's got one. I realized when I was in Arizona, as my eyes started taking a serious turn for the worse, that I needed orientation training badly because the end is near, I hate to say. As I went through orientation training, I realized that I still don't feel safe enough. I felt that the white cane, it doesn't announce enough that I can't see you coming. And after actually 3 incidents with cars, in vain, I screamed. What else does a blind guy have to do to not get hit around here? And my history, my background in the former life prior to losing my vision, I was a surveyor in the big city of Boston, primarily Boston, where our positions were to work where we didn't belong, in the middle of the roads and excavation sites and tunnels and on barges, and I mean dangerous conditions. So we had to be lit up like a Christmas tree just to avoid serious injury or death. So we had the brightest clothes possible, and I thought of this when I was screaming for visible attention or visual attention. But then I thought, I don't belong in a traffic cone anymore because I don't belong in the middle of the street anymore. So the notion of bright yet socially acceptable started merging worlds. And ultimately I came up with hopefully a fairly socially acceptable, attractive shirt that's primarily a dark or solid body with highlights of high visibility colors and eye-catching contrast to really draw the attention to anybody that says, I am here, without screaming, I'm here. As well, on the chest, on my chest in big green letters on this shirt, this is my indie collection. It says blind, really in no uncertain terms for anybody who's approaching me in an intersection or on a hiking trail that I might not see them coming. So the implication is immediate. Please don't walk into me, in a gentle, whispery spa voice, shall we say. I also have blind on my sleeves, on the shoulders, and on the back. So in all 4 directions, people can see that I might not see them coming, or that the bank line has proceeded and there's a large gap between me and the teller. It saves a lot of discussion, and I'm actually appreciative of the added heads up. when a cashier would hand back the change and count it back for me. And the first time that happened, I was actually very, very moved. And I came home and I was weeping to my wife, and it was like, it's almost as if she knew I was blind. Well, there you go. And
can I ask you a question, Dave?
Please do. I'm an open book for you.
We've spoke, various weeks gone by about the many misconceptions that are out there with low vision, and especially, a lot of us with RP or similar conditions kind of face on a day-to-day basis. So what kind of got me thinking there when you're telling your story about the t-shirt and the clothes and having blind on there is, have you had any situations where you're clearly showing that you are blind, but there is I still think there's a way we need to change the way that blind is perceived, because there's many different shades, and people just think, most people think blind is seeing nothing. So has there been situations, or can you talk about situations where you've been challenged because you're wearing blind, but then you do something like use your phone?
Yes, I love this question. It's such a great question. There's so many memes on Facebook. It's ridiculous about this very task that
we've just done one. We've just done a piece of artwork with B Fox, which I don't know if you've managed to see yet, with him on a train platform holding a phone, which has been turned. And yeah,
love it. Yeah,
we'll get to you and talk about. But yeah, I mean,
by the way,
how's that gone for you?
I knew that was Ben.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it's a great question. I really, honestly, have never been challenged about that personally. I've seen and heard many stories, but personally, I've never been challenged as to you're faking it, or I saw you looking, or anything like that. My biggest enemy is myself in this arena, because I've got RP, and it's such a quirky condition. I've danced that razor thin line of what world do I belong to for about 6 years, and that's a long time being. That's a long time being on a razor's edge of I don't know. Do I pretend to be blind, or do I try to be sighted? And it's dangerous and difficult and very, very frustrating. There were a few incidents that helped, but ultimately there's always one incident that pushes or tips the scale, and now I identify myself as blind. And all of this ties into the fact that I do have, in fact, a 5-letter word on my shirt that says blind, and yet I've got 7 degrees of 20/25 vision.
That's something that really interests me, and something that it really appeals to me as well, is the fact that you are very adamant in saying that blind doesn't necessarily mean see nothing. And I think that's very important, because there's too many people. There's a lot of people out there who I've had conversations with, who we almost have to use other words. We use low vision. We use partially sighted. We use lots of different terms to ultimately do the same thing, which is change the way that word blind is perceived, to make it more understandable for the seeing world. So yeah, I think it's great that you are saying, no, I'm blind, but blind doesn't mean that I can't see everything. I can't. Yeah, and that's so important.
Great point, Dave. Great point. And I've toyed or tormented with this very notion when I was generating the designs and the shirt in the very early stages, and I was leaning towards low vision, but I approached a neighbor and I asked her, who was fully sighted, her opinion, and I said, well, what do you think about low vision? And I could barely get the word vision out of my mouth, and she said, what the hell does that mean? And right away I had my answer. Low vision implies, let's talk about it. There's an education, there's now you're opening the entire discussion of partial, as you say, partial sighted, low, one eye, RP, 7 degrees, no night vision. It's a litany of explanations, and on a hiking trail, if I've got a mountain bike tearing behind me or somebody in an intersection, honestly, I don't have the time or the patience or the resources to stop and have a discussion. It's not the time. I need to get across in a millisecond. I can't see you approach me. And that's what the word blind does. It's 5 letters, and it immediately generates a very, very specific set of criteria. And there's no discussion about, well, how much do you or don't you see? It's, okay, you don't see me coming in this intersection or crosswalk, I'll walk around.
Listen,
So,
you've touched on it just there. For those people that kind of don't know about you, can you explain, because you're a very active guy.
yes.
Can you tell people out there some of the stuff you're doing? Because just before you do, I want to get this point in. You made a point there, which I think is really, really important. And I want to talk about this tonight because you brought it up. And I'm glad you did. It's World Sight Day tomorrow. We're all talking about, how precious our vision is, and, how we need to look after what we've got. And for those people that are living with blindness, about showing how they live full lives. And you talk about this, having these years of living on this razor's edge of not knowing where you fit in the blind community or in the sighted world. I want to hear from other people after you speak tonight. I want to hear from other people out there, because I know Barb's one of them who's listening, and I've been there, and Ben's been there. Everyone I've spoken to has been there, of having these periods of not knowing where I fit.
Yes.
And these battles, and those are the biggest challenges that we face. And I think having people like yourself on tonight and talking about those things is so important. And this is what this hour of Tea and Poetry is all about. We talk about support. It's about talking about these things that we all go through, that it's not until we speak to other people like us that we realize that we all do these things. So yeah, you you've been, you do go through this battle of where do I fit and all the same things that we do, but you still, are getting out there and doing amazing things. So tell us a bit about that.
Before you do that, I just want to say, Dave, both Daves, that I put a quick poll out there, and I wanted to see what our viewers slash listeners this afternoon / evening, what their thoughts are if they would wear apparel with the word blind on it. So we're getting, it's an open poll. I'm keeping it open, and I would love for everyone to participate. To just, again, it's anonymous, so no one sees how you're voting or anything like that. So, but I'm happy to share the if you want to call it the figures before the end of the webinar tonight.
Love
so
it.
And there's no right or wrong answer with this poll.
No,
it's an absolute personal choice.
Yes, absolutely.
Personally, I don't wear, apparel or anything that says I'm blind. That doesn't mean that it's not for other people. And there's no right or wrong answer. But you have your examples where it has really helped you, and you can't deny that. So, but I just want to make that point that, I don't want anyone, there's no right or wrong. You don't feel bad for putting no. It's a personal choice, and
very
different
excited.
things work for different people.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see.
And I would wear it.
So
yeah, I would, because even yesterday I went hiking with a friend, and she grabbed my arm and pulled me towards her because the van around us didn't slow down. She was just like, you cannot be walking by yourself. I realized it. And I was like, I don't know if people would slow down if they saw, and she's talked about this hot pink. I'm like, I don't want to wear hot pink anything. Like, kind of like what you're saying, that nice and subtle spa whisper. Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, the spa
want.
voice of apparel. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, people are voting, so keep it up. Again, please, I encourage everyone to again. This will not. We're not holding you to anything right now. We just want to know, share with us your honest opinion. So.
Yeah, so
I'm
Dave,
dying to see. Yes,
talk us through some of the the things that you've done and the places that you've been, and the how you keep yourself active.
Where am I now? Okay, Sedona is an amazing place to be going blind. There's still so much to see. The scenery, the red rocks, the sunrises and sunsets, monsoon season. It's just, it's a
I'd love to
magical
get there
place.
myself. Hopefully one day when all this is over, I'll get to come out there.
And we will have you out there. It's absolutely terrific. Hundreds of miles of hiking trails available from a trailhead 5 minutes from our house. Walking, it's magnificent. What I've been doing, I've been really sinking my energy and my teeth into being a Sedona resident. I don't want to call myself, the token blind person, but I really am the only person in town that is blind. And I thought, what a magical combination of an amazing place to be and a blind person. I discovered I love being on the trails. Getting the red rock dust in my boots is just, it's magical. Had a hard time hiking, scrambling up and down the rocks and the ledges, and ultimately I said, I need help. I need mobility assistance on the trails. Otherwise I'm staring at my feet and I'm missing the scenery. Put a couple brain cells together and developed 2 versions of a blind hiking cane that are a true game changer. With a couple augmented features, I'm able to ambulate, support my weight up and down ledges and deep steps, and just be able to hike safely and confidently, and enjoy the scenery. When I hike with my wife, I do use her for a guide and navigation, but the hike itself is silent now. No longer do we have to use this verbal communication. We had our own language for hiking. For example, people coming from ahead, meeps, because the roadrunner would go meep meep.
Yeah.
If it's rocky, it's razzle dazzle. Cactus left, cactus right, very basic, quick commands. But now she doesn't have to do that. She doesn't have to babysit me in tow. She's enjoying her hike, and I'm enjoying mine. It's honestly, David, it is a game changer. And what I am doing with this excitement is working on I'd say an a la carte menu of awesome things for blind people to do. Right now I'm calling it Sedona Blind Adventure Tours, where I think I've got about 48 incredible destinations, most of them for free, that a blind or limited vision or low vision person can enjoy in Sedona, one of which is hiking.
So with regards to that, for the people that are out there, how do they kind of get in touch with you, or where do they go to?
Complete honesty, Dave, I haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
Right now, it's only in a PDF
Okay.
on a zip drive in my file, and a lot of it is up here. What I'm doing for this experience, these 5 weeks, is to iron out the details of how Sedona Blind Adventure Tours can come into being, and it's going to be an amazing opportunity.
But to kind of like keep up to date with you and follow you on social media, you have a page. Where should they go?
Okay, I do have, yes, I have an A Werewolf Gear page on Facebook, also my personal page.
Spell that out for everyone.
Love to. AWEREWOLFGEAR. AwareWolfGear.com is my website, and I believe my Facebook page is A Werewolf Gear, 2 words. And to help with the understanding, a werewolf is really a takeoff on werewolf, with just it's a werewolf that's become aware, so it's a werewolf. Hey, now you'll never forget, right? Now it's branded into your brain, and it's in there for good.
I love, we've had quite a few guests on these calls over the last few weeks, and we've got more to come as we kind of go forward. And I love how, people out there within our community, like yourself, Dave, are doing these things, that are really inspiring others and we're all getting that message across. You know, a lot of us are doing it in different ways, using different art forms and different things, but we're all doing that. That same message, getting that same message across is, you know, you don't need to be behind your door. You don't need to be isolated. You know, we can change these misconceptions, change the way that blindness is perceived, and we can get out there and live our lives to, you know, to the fullest. And, you know, fair play. And, you know, I take my hat off to you, and I hope, you know, people hearing your story and about the things that you're doing will inspire them, just as, you know, Bob is out there inspiring others now as well. And it's great to hear. B, are you still out there? Is B Fox still listening?
He's still there.
I am.
B, do you want to chime in with anything here?
What's going, guys? What's up? I am on the other side of the room. I'm going to do a little video show so you can see that. There's Dave over there.
Nice. B Fox has a big living room.
Yeah. We're socially distant, but I was muting the microphone because if Dave's talking, then I also had my up to my ear, so you're probably seeing my hair now, so because I could hear Dave up in my ear, but I didn't want you guys looking at my hair the whole time, and so that's why you're seeing the What the Fox logo.
I like the coordination of the mute, the unmute. It's great.
Yeah, that's what's going on.
This is pre-planned.
You can tell he does film.
Yeah.
Yes.
Having a good time.
Yes.
So come on, B, give us your thoughts.
So, well, first of all, I'm so happy for the Daves to be meeting, and we have the blind poet from the UK, and then we have Sedona Dave, the Vortex Man.
The Vortex Man.
And I'll tell you what, you know, the idea that Dave has come out here to workshop with us and to really just have a great meeting of the minds, and be on calls like this, and to also work with the mastermind Barry himself, who is a marketing legend and a merchandising guru. And if y'all didn't know, this man right here, if you ever bought a miniature airplane from any of the airlines, really, or a bunch of them, this man right here probably was the source of it one way or another during a certain number of years.
In my previous life.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, so, you know, for Dave to come out and be working with Barry, and I want to tell you, like Dave's done so much already by himself, and with other people, I'm sure, that have been helpful. I don't want to say not that, but for him to merge with Barry and also with our organization and LD Lighthouse, I'm excited to see what we do together. We're going to be sourcing the materials on the merchandise itself, like the actual fabric. We're going to go to the place where they're being made and source the thread itself. We're going to be building the inventory. I'm excited about that, but we're also talking about the Sedona tours. And Barry, when we're sitting down again next week with Dave, we're very excited to show you what we've come up with. But what we're working on is we are actually making a documentary film that's my personal documentary film, just documenting all this process. And next week we've got Orly the blind chef. She's coming to stay at this house. And I'd love to show you her cooking creations, Dave, next week.
Absolutely. We have to have Orly on next week. That'd be great.
So, and then Dave, soon enough, you and I, my friend, will be on a tour with Dave in Sedona. And I'll tell you, I went out there on these tours with him already, and I had a cane in my hand, one of these ones that he personally has invented and developed, and taken it out and test drove it. And I'll tell you, it's like a Disneyland for hiking for people that are blind. It's a tactile experience. There's these crevices that go up on either side, and you got this cane going swoosh, swoosh. And it's like this cane's got a special bouncy fiber grip to it that you can feel every little rock and pebble under the cane. It's so fun. The crisp
B, I got a question. Does a cactus feel different to you? One of those?
Well, the nice thing about Sedona is there's not that many cactus up there for various reasons. So if you get down into Phoenix, watch out for the saguaro. But, but I also wanted to touch base, Dave Steele, and I wanted to thank you, number one, and then comment on it. Thank you for writing the poem about almost blindness and for sharing that with me.
Have I got it here?
I would love it if that could be a poem. I just kind of took it that was like, he said, if I got it here, that maybe you're reaching for it. But I love that poem. And I really appreciate you sharing that with myself and the folks over the weekend. and it was beautiful at Nikki Jefford's 20th anniversary celebration. It was so fun to have you be there as a part of that through digital means.
Got it here. Yeah, I got it here.
Yep.
I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with this yet. I don't know if it's the complete poem. I'm going to work on it. I'm always constantly working on stuff. And at the weekend, you know, B was partying with some great people, and I was jealous not to be there. And I
Hey, I
called him
wasn't
and
invited. Don't worry.
yeah, I know. I called him and I said, I've got this poem here. And obviously, for those people that don't know, Almost Blind is .org is B's baby. You know, I said to, you know, Barry, we need to get on having Almost Blind face masks. I think that is it's a great thing at the moment. I think, you know, would go down an absolute storm with people. I would certainly wear one. As long as it was long enough to cover the beard, because I'm struggling at the moment.
It'll be quite large.
Yeah, David, then you need to get a clear mask so people can appreciate the artwork that you've got, this fine beard.
At the moment, I'm wearing a bin liner. So the beard is that big. But at the start of lockdown, I shaved it off and I had nothing. So this is how long we've been in lockdown now. So yeah, I'll read you this. I wrote it. There's a little short thing, and it kind of, I wanted to have this conversation. I shouldn't really need to explain this because you'll get it. But I'd like people's thoughts on this. What does blindness look like? Is it something you can see? Can you look into my eyes and see my disability? Could you see how I feel anxious in an unfamiliar place, or when trying to social distance, it's so hard to judge the space? If I'm using social media, staring right at my phone screen, does it mean that I am faking it, or is blindness just unseen? So what does blindness look like? Can its presence be defined? Can you look into my eyes and tell that I am almost blind?
That is beautiful. I never heard that piece, by the way.
No, because I only just wrote it a few days ago and not put it out because I'm not too sure what I was going to do with it yet.
I would actually like that to go with that artwork.
Sorry, one step ahead of you here. I already said that.
Did I just hear greeting card?
Yes.
No, I like it. To go with the piece of artwork.
Yep.
As I said to you on Saturday when I read you the poem. But the piece of artwork that we were talking about with Ben at the train station, holding the mobile phone, I think that, you know, really fits well.
Yes,
Dave,
absolutely.
How full circle is it, my friend, that you, of all people, would write that poem that would go with that artwork, and that it's involving trains?
Yeah, isn't it just? But yeah, this is how these things go. You know, when people are in the right place, right time, we're creating magic, and it's still just the beginning. We are all doing important work here.
Yeah, I just want to say, first of all, the poll is still open. Most people have, 66% of you have voted. So if you haven't voted yet, please, I would just love, again, it's either a yes, no, or maybe. Again,
I want to weigh in, not to sway too much, but Barry, I got to weigh in on this poll if I may. And Dave, I know that you know what I'm going to say, my brother, and both you Daves, check it out. So as soon as I saw Dave Epstein's post about the shirt, the high visibility gear for the blind, right, athletic wear especially, I immediately said, okay, sooner or later, this gentleman and I are going to have to merge. We're just going to have to, because, like, for me, it wasn't about the high visibility wear as much as a shirt that says, and I'll tell you the story why involving trains, and it's a roundabout way. I'll get right back to it. I'm on a train, completely full. The people that are sitting in the area for disabled seating immediately got up and said, "Oh, here goes sir." Ironically, it's the very first time I'd ever had a white cane in my hand and rode a train. And as soon as I sit down, I'm like, "Oh, thank you," and I get a text message. I'm having a great time. I think nothing of it. I open it up. I check out my text message, and immediately I hear, "That guy's not blind." I'm like, "Oh, you might have heard the story before I get up," and I get off the train right away. And then I went back home, and I lost a little bit of the courage that I had, a little bit of spunk in the step, but I made it. I made it back right away. But I was wearing a hat and a shirt that said "Almost Blind." Thought it worked the next time I went on the train. And it's not a label, but what it is 2 quick words to say as soon as something happens with someone. I don't know how they're going to react. It helps me feel just a little bit more safe. And I say, I don't want to be coy, but hey, thanks for running into me. Like, you know, I don't mean coy, but like, hey, sorry, we ran into each other. I'm almost blind. 2 words that fast. And anytime I've been on a plane or anything like that, and I've encountered other people that, especially RP folks with that tunnel vision from across the room, and they can spot it, like, oh, hey, can I get one of those shirts? Can I get a hat? And I have I printed up a number of them and given them away for free. And just, ladies and gentlemen, just so you guys know, Barry Asman himself specifically, and then also his entire family and organization have generously gotten behind Almost Blind. He's redesigned our logo for us because he's a dynamite designer, whether he'll tell you that. He's don't want you calling him up and asking him for free logos because he's a busy man. But he's one of the best designers I've ever seen.
And can I just say, B, it's even more important now, because, you know, how many of us are either experiencing or hearing about these stories around the world within our community where, you know, with the pandemic, it's very anxious out there for everyone. Forget blind community, forget sight loss for a second.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're all kind of trying to feel our way in this new environment of social distancing and everything else. You know, we're getting anxious if people are stood too close to us, if people aren't wearing masks. You got people are walking around with a mask where the nose is out of the mask.
Gosh.
And all that kind of stuff, you know, that's going on. And so, you know, for people like ourselves who have this invisible disability, you know, something like, you know, these things can take away that doubt, that awkwardness, that misjudging a situation for someone who's just maybe naturally anxious. Because people can be rude just because maybe they're having a bad day or they're feeling anxious themselves. So, you know, if you're being understanding about it, but, you know, these kind of things can really make a huge difference at the moment.
So I just want to say we had 2 hands that were raised. I brought Travis, who's been waiting really patiently to join the conversation. So Travis, you are unmuted. You are free to talk. And I also have Gail, who's also in here as well. Right. I wanted to bring those 2 individuals in, but I also want to say B Fox mentioned something. It probably went over most people as far as didn't understand what he was saying, but I want to make a special announcement together with B Fox right before the end of this call. So I encourage everyone to please stay on. I want to make an announcement, and it pertains to some of our efforts and to what we have on our plate. Especially with tomorrow being World Sight Day, I want to make it official here to this group. So, Travis, Gail, the floor is yours.
Are we together on this, Travis and Gail?
Well, yeah, Travis. Yes, yeah. Go ahead.
You know what you
like you guys have your own team show.
Go first.
Well, and you have to tell me, can you see me or not?
We do not see you.
Oh, well, I mean, that's okay. It's not intentional, but you know, I just want to put on a happy face if you can see me. But
I just sent the request to start your video, but if you accept that request, then we should be able to see you. But if not,
how's that?
There you are.
There you
are.
Hello.
Hey there. Well, should I start or shall I go?
Go.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, first thing I have to say, like Travis, I am from Team Allison. And, right? So, oh my gosh.
Love Allison.
She's given me such a gift. And Dave, okay, this is just amazing. I mean, I really was having a hard day, and I'm like, well, I don't care. I'm listening to Dave, and so here I am. And you are all just amazing. But what I had to say when Dave talked about reading, well, first of all, I am completely blind. And it happened to me just overnight. So, you know, they never could figure out what happened. So I woke up and it was not a good day to go to work, you know, so I called in and said, I don't think I can come today. But so since I have this blindness, I also have grandchildren, and my granddaughter, whose name is Ellie, and she is 12. Well, when she was a little girl, I mean, because, you know, they're not little girls anymore, but when she was a little girl, of course, you know, we'd want to read stories together. It was a little hard for me since I couldn't see. But with Ellie, you know, I would say, let's read a book, Grandma. So she'd get a book. I'd say, go get it. And we'd sit on her bed. And then I would give it to her. I'd say like, oh, okay. So what's this book about? And she'd say, you know, it's about the Three Bears or whatever. And then she would proceed, we would turn the page, page by page, and she would proceed to tell me a story. She would make it up.
Yep.
And it was amazing. It was a moment that my heart still sings about. And so, I mean, the good news is, I mean, it worked for me to figure out a way without sight. And she's a very creative, imaginative person, and she's wonderful. And so that's my story on that. And I also love the thing about the blind wear. I put a maybe in, but when I had done, I think it was a 10K walk, I'm here on the Central Coast of California. So when I did the 10K walk from the Rock to the pier in Cayucos, my sister, who was alive at that time, was with me, and she had walked with me before. And then one year she said, okay, this is it, Gail. We're making you a little sign so that people behind me weren't like pushing, especially when we got on the rocks, right? And it was amazing because that was my amazing sister. And so she made a blind sign for me so they could see it from the back, because obviously everyone's in front of you other than the people that are behind you. And she made herself, she may have had a sighted guide tab for her, but I mean, I just thought of those two things that are so close to my heart, and maybe it just says there's always a way, you know, like for the storytelling and the walking, etc. So I've kind of gone on and on, but
no, listen, we
beautiful.
appreciate you being here, and listen, as it's your first time kind of speaking to us, I always like to do this. Can I read you something?
Yes.
I'd love to read you a poem, and then we'll move on to Travis as well, because we want to try and fit as many in as possible, because the hour goes so quick. We need more time, but hopefully we'll be back again next week. But see if you can relate to this. Whenever you feel weary, teary eyes and anxious mind, for all the things that get to you while slowly going blind, just know that you are not alone, for I have felt that way too. And if I can thrive whilst living blind, there's nothing you can't do. I've been there at the bottom, I've lost my way before, spent endless days avoiding rays and trapped behind my door. But now I've found my purpose, I'm where I'm meant to be. My mind is blessed with vision that my eyes don't need to see. I'm leading by example, I'm teaching my children to believe that if one day their eyes are blind, their dreams they will achieve. So remember that the darkness that you're feeling will not last. There's strength in you to start anew. Leave your sadness in the past.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. So I have Travis here, I have Allison here, and I also have Derek Mills, who is here, who's joined the party. So we've got a big group who everyone's got their mics unmuted. So Travis, feel free to chime in.
All right. Can you hear me okay?
We hear you loud.
Certainly can, Travis. How are you?
I am wonderful. How about you guys?
Yeah,
awesome.
Very good to have you back on the call again for another week.
As usual, and I'm so glad to be a part of this every Wednesday. I just want to tell you guys. So, you know, this is awesome for me.
Thank you, Travis.
You are welcome. And it's good to see some new faces on here.
Absolutely.
It's wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah. Hey, so I wanted to share a couple of things with you guys, you know, kind of related to tours and street crossings, actually, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Please.
Okay, so I've been blind since birth, and I'm able to get around very good, you know, as long as I have my cane and so forth. I did have a couple of situations once when I was back at Cuesta College once with one of our bus stops one year. And this is when they, you know, had one of the bus stops was cut back, and they were only using the front one, you know, because they were trying to manage, you know, time with the bus schedules and so forth. But luckily they took that front one away and moved to the back, because that involved street crossings, and it was not easy for some people like us. So anyway, street crossings are no problem, but I would have encounters sometimes when crossing like parking lots, for example, you know, / street crossings, leaving the bus stop at Cuesta College. And I would know it's okay to cross, but then like when you're midway across, it's like you get a driver who'd be ignorant, and they just don't want to wait for you to pass with the cane or anything. It's like, what are you doing, basically? Lucky for me, those happened only a couple of times, and it's never happened since. But the other thing I wanted to talk about, as many of you know, I'm also part of Team Allison, just like Gail and so forth. Last year, Gail, myself, Allison, several others, we did a field trip last year. We're all on the Central Coast, so I live in Templeton, but we went on a Morro Bay field trip to a sea otter exhibit.
Oh, cool.
And we, got to do everything, tactily, of course, got to feel real sea otters. It wasn't alive, obviously, or anything. And we got to touch, their teeth and all that, and their fur. And I'll tell you what, it was really hands-on, and it was a fun experience. I mean, it was really unique.
I think we're going to have to do a field trip out to visit you guys on the West Coast.
Yeah,
Nice.
absolutely.
Please do.
Nice.
Now, let me just say
California,
this.
here we come.
Now, once
Travis,
COVID blows, huh?
Travis, this is Dave with the Werewolf Gear.
Yeah.
If I could just follow up with your tactile experience for a quick second. One of the many features I'm excited about in getting people out to Sedona, Arizona, is a wolf experience where the homeowner will invite you to a pen with 3 or 4 massive wolves that she's rescued, and for a person to be able to wrap their arms around this 200-pound leaning furry, this is not a dog, is breathtaking, and I'm just so excited that you're wrapping your experience around this tactile awesomeness of nature. That I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. Let's light this candle.
If someone would like to wrap their arms around something that's 200 pounds and furry, you could always get me at the end of lockdown. We're all getting there.
So, can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
Before we move on. So, if you guys ever come out to California when this finally blows over, there's a lot of neat things to see, in terms of our beaches and all. And for those who like wine, we got great wine tasting, especially the style wine tasting, for those who've been able to do it.
Wow.
It's pretty fascinating.
Absolutely. That sounds like a plan. And I think, we'll be out there because, we've certainly got a lot of connections out there now. I'd just like to say, I know Travis is out there. Derek's out there as well. Derek, how's your week been?
Everything's going great. Good to see everybody.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you very much for coming on the call again. It's always great to see your face. How things things are all good with you?
Yes.
Yeah, all good. Actually, I'm sorry, am I interrupting?
No,
I'm
sorry, Derek.
sorry.
I'm
I
speaking
thought you were
to Derek
talking to me.
there.
Sorry about
Sorry.
that.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. Everything's going good. Everything's been good. Yeah, I just wanted to chime in quick. It was just cool to see everybody today. Mr. Epstein, it was actually cool to actually see your face on live TV, I guess, on the computer. I actually saw you on social media through one of the Facebook pages that I'm part of, and it was actually cool to put a face with a story. So,
Far out, awesome.
It's actually really cool. And just really quick, Dave, speaking on being newly diagnosed only last October, and so many people don't know I have it. I think I've only told maybe 12 people total that I have RP, and it's just hard for me to explain to them how it is and what it is. Even though my vision is still well enough where I'm still able to go to work and everything, I still have my issues where I bang my head and my toes and knock my kids over. And to hear all of you guys and what you are doing with Bob and Allison and B Fox and everybody else, I'm sorry if I forgot everybody's name, it's very inspiring. And this whole thing with RP being like almost a genetic missing link, it's with no cure right now. It's almost like, Dave, you kind of are our missing link right now, bringing everybody together with RP and showing how everybody can do something in their community to make everyone else aware. And it's helping me because I'm still scared to tell people that I have it because I don't want the pity and everything that goes with it. But what you guys, everybody on this chat is doing, everybody listening that's not on it, what everyone's doing, motivation. So want to thank everybody for that. Just a quick chime in on that. D. Fox, Dave Epstein, Allison, Barb, Doreen, I saw your name in the thing. You're from Rhode Island. Hi, nice to see you. I'm small state in New England there. So anyway, just that. Thanks everybody for what you guys do. It's a big motivation.
Before you go, Derek, Barb, are you still there?
She's still
Is Barb
here,
still there?
Yes, I am. I had to unmute myself.
Sorry, Bob, I don't know if you realise, but Derek is the guy who, when I was in Rhode Island, who had just been diagnosed,
yes.
and we told you that story, and yeah, and so Derek's still in touch, and it's just amazing having us all kind of connected. But yeah. And I wanted to once again say, I said it right at the beginning of the call. We talk about, Derek's just said about me connecting all these people. If you hadn't have made that connection with Barry and done what you did, look at what you did. Look at what you did.
Yep, the fruits of your labor.
Thank you, Bob.
Yep, that is 100% true.
So I was just wondering, before we kind of wrap things up, because I know we're kind of getting to that time now. In fact, we're over that time now. There's also someone out there on the call. I just want to check if they're still there. 1 second, because I know we've had a couple of people drop off, which we always do. Yeah, we have actually. There's a lady. I don't know if she's going to feel putting her on a spot to come on and say hi. But Linda Razor, who's out there, if you are willing to kind of come on, even just without the camera and just vocally and say hi, I'd love to have you speak. But if not, I just want to say hi to.
I'm going to bring Linda in, and if she wants to talk, she's welcome to talk.
Linda, are you there?
And she's coming right now. Hold on one moment.
Okay.
I'm going to ask to unmute her. And all right, Linda, if you're there, I've asked you to unmute. If you don't want to, no problem. So, Dave, continue on.
Yeah, okay. I don't. If Linda's out there, if she's not coming on, that's fine. But it'd be great to speak to you. Linda has followed me for quite some time now, and Linda's one of the rare few people on my kind of Facebook from the States who actually has been this side of the pond, and a couple of times now, and come to Manchester, and she's met me and Amy here with her wonderful husband Chris. It's been amazing, keeping in touch with her. And this is the first time on the call, so I just wanted to kind of say a big thank you to Linda for coming on.
Nice. Okay, cool. I want to share with you guys the poll. Looks like most of you have completed the poll. The question was, would you wear apparel with the word blind printed on it? You had 3 choices: yes, no, or maybe. So the nice thing is that 42% of you said yes, that you would. 42% said maybe, and 17% said no. So
okay.
I would say that Mr. Dave E, not Dave S, Dave E, you are heading in the right direction and continue to do what you're doing.
I love those numbers.
We always knew that you're heading in the right direction. But it's nice to see what people, out there to share their, true feelings. And it's really nice to see that.
This is my heartfelt thank you.
And I'm pretty sure that by the time you leave Baltimore down the road, because Dave E is going to be there in town for a while, I'm sure we can convert most of those maybes, if not all of them, into
We're
yes.
on
So,
I think most of those maybes
it.
just, it's just about how you'd wear it. So that, that's a great result.
Set and setting.
Absolutely.
If I could throw one more thought into the ring, into this discussion,
sure.
Between the hiking cane and these shirts, if I were to describe my mission in one word, I would say it's a mission of empowerment. I'm not going to say that's a mic drop word, but empowerment. It's we got this. We got this.
It's a strong word, and I think it's very appropriate for the work that you're doing. So I like it.
I feel it. I feel the word. Yes, thank you.
So before Dave stepped away there for a moment.
So I'm back now. I'm just wearing my blind apparel, which says the blind poet on top of the baseball cap that I'm just wearing.
I just want to say, Ben, if you can, Mr. B Fox, if you could just unmute your mic. So again, and I just want to make one announcement here. because I
Dun,
feel
dun, 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 dun.
this is a
Excited.
group that is very close and dear to me, and I feel that while some of you may know more details, most of you here do not know what I'm about to say, and I feel that it'd be appropriate to share it here with everyone first. So
This is the most appropriate place to share it,
absolutely,
in my opinion.
absolutely.
If Dave let us, of course.
And so, and I feel that it's appropriate to share this because tomorrow being World Sight Day, World Sight Day was created as a time on the calendar to create awareness for the sight loss community. And what I have been doing for the last 6+ years is, going out and starting my day every day with a mission to create that awareness, to create and generate the advocacy and the much necessary, awareness for the sight loss community. Because when I got involved and I joined our family's practice, Low Vision Specialists of Maryland and Virginia, I had a lot of questions and I didn't understand why certain things were taking place, why there wasn't, enough attention to the overall sight loss community. And I'm happy to say this is a true testament to some of my work that we're all here today, because I believe in doing things differently, creatively, and to be able to, take the microphone and go out there and be proud of the work that I'm doing. So many of you, actually not many, only some of you out there knew our dear friend, my colleague, one of my best friends, Mr. Lanny Dennis, may his soul rest in peace. And Lanny, we lost Lanny back in March, not from COVID. It just happened to be that he did pass away right in the early stages of COVID. But again, Lanny did not pass away from COVID. And he put up a tremendous battle. And he literally, his words were stay focused. He stayed focused literally till the last moment. But I had an opportunity to, spend time with Lanny over the phone before he went to hospice. And I made a promise to him that we would never, forget about him, and that we would always make sure that his legacy would continue on. Now, again, Lanny's legacy, there's a lot to share, so I'm just going to be brief with it. But Lanny would join me. The two of us would go out together to speak at various different locations, television interviews, radio interviews, you name it. Lanny was right there with me at BWI Airport to welcome Dave literally off the jet bridge when he arrived. And Lanny was, again, he was a very close friend of mine, but a really integral part as far as the work that I've been doing to create and raise the bar when it comes to awareness. So I made that promise to Lanny that we would never forget him. Now, again, because of Dave Steele, I was introduced to Ben Fox, and Ben and I started to have a variety of conversations, but one specific conversation which we sort of formalized our agreement, as far as a gentleman's handshake, to move forward with our efforts to raise the bar and to really push, the limits when it comes to advocacy and awareness for the sight loss community. We had committed to that in California. The two of us were over at CSUN. Again, and this is before Lanny passed away. So Ben and I made a commitment that we're going to do something. We decided that, it still had a few things to be ironed out, but we committed that we're going to be doing something together on the, aspect of awareness for the sight loss community. So fast forward, Lanny passes away in middle of March. Ben and I are continuing our conversations, and we officially decided that we're going to move forward and form a new non-for-profit. And the non-for-profit is going to, we're not going to go into all the details here now, but the non-for-profit has multiple divisions, if you want to call it. Again, we're not going to go into the specifics of those divisions right now, but again, just keep in mind that the number one, there's a couple goals, pretty big goals behind it, but it's as far as employment, reducing the unemployment rate for the sight loss community, and also at the same time creating and really raising the level of awareness for the sight loss community. Look at that as the two major goals. So fast forward, so that we formed the non-for-profit, and I told Ben that the official name for the non-for-profit, we need to have Lanny Dennis, his name front and center. I will need to make sure that we honor him properly. And so the name that we came up with is quite fascinating. So Lanny D, as Lanny would go by, Lanny D is the official, it's part there in the title, front and center. But I wanted to use the word lighthouse because lighthouse is synonymous with the sight loss community. And I later found out after we created the name, and I was sharing with Lanny's wife, that Lanny actually had a passion for visiting actual lighthouses. This goes back to before he started to lose his sight. When they would go on vacation, they would actually go and tour different lighthouses. And I was going back and looking at some footage from our vlog that we used to do. And Lanny would actually be wearing a t-shirt with a lighthouse on it. So I knew Lanny was by my side when he was helping us, go through this process. And I wanted to, pay a little bit as far as respect to the area where I grew up, Baltimore. Chesapeake Bay is, also synonymous with the Baltimore, Maryland, Virginia region. And so when we put the name Lanny D together, we with everything I just mentioned, we officially calling the non-for-profit the Lanny D Chesapeake Lighthouse. And so just about a week and a half ago, we got our official confirmation from the IRS. We are an official 501c3 approved non-for-profit. And Ben and I and my brother Steven, who is not on this call, who likes to sort of be in the dark, if you want to call it. He likes to be more of an anonymous, but the three of us are the founding board members, and there are going to be some even greater announcements coming in the days ahead. But I wanted to put this out there. I've been really wanting to share this with everyone here, the work that we are doing, the work that everyone here is a part of, and it's a great honor to be steering this ship and to be able to announce this on the eve of World Sight Day. So Ben, you want to
think of a more perfect time to do it. And literally getting chills, hearing you talk about Lanny and what he meant to you and what he meant to us, and having Barb on the call as well. This hat that I'm wearing, the Blind Poet hat, was given to me and to us, to Barb and to Lanny and yourself on that night on the way back from the concert last year on the tour. I spoke at a concert for Memorial Weekend, and we were there in our tuxes, driving back, singing "Stand By Me," and it's that was the first time I got this hat, and it's just a really special moment. And Lanny was a very, very special man who will be in our hearts forever.
Yes,
absolutely. And Ben, is there anything that you would like? I'm going to bring up a picture, by the way, of all of us from that night. Just actually give me one moment. I'm going to bring up that picture. I want to share that with everyone. And that was really incredible night. Hopefully everyone can see that. Lanny is there. When you're looking at the picture, Lanny is on the left. That young lady there, I have to apologize. I forgot her first name, but she at the time was Miss Veteran America. We got Dave Steele, myself, and Barb there. All of us dressed up. Really, really incredible night. So
you all look like royalty.
Thank you. So,
congratulations.
Thank you very much, Allison. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you. It's it's been an incredible journey to date, and we are about to really kick it into high gear now. And there are a lot of exciting pieces to this puzzle that will be under the umbrella of the not-for-profit. And I don't want to get into right now because we're going to give it its own proper time for announcement. But stay tuned on that. I wanted to share that. And Ben, is there anything that you want to share with on that?
Stand by for more.
Stand by for more.
Absolutely.
So excellent. Dave, I'm going to have you wrap things up with a piece of poetry, like we always
absolutely.
do.
Well, once again, I'd like to say a massive thank you to everyone on the call tonight, and everyone new to the call. We hope you'll come back again next week and continue to grow with us as we move into some really exciting times. We've been waiting on this announcement now for a good few weeks, getting everything, and there's still lots more to come.
Yep.
I hope For World Sight Day tomorrow, I'd like to put in a little request for people out there.
I think I know what you're going to request.
I'd like them just to share a piece of my poetry.
That's great. I like that.
So yeah, get involved with that, and just tell more people about this group. So let's double the numbers next week. If everyone can invite one more person, let's keep doubling it and doubling it and doubling it, because that's how we change things and raise awareness. So
before you say something, there is someone in a video frame there who is a real true hero, and I just want to acknowledge his presence. Paul, I want to just say thank you for everything that you do for the United States of America and for protecting us and being there. And
thank you for your service, Paul.
Thank you, Dave.
Oh, pleasure. Good to hear from you, and glad you're home.
Good to be back.
I bet you are. It's so nice seeing you you all together again, and you've had an amazing time since you've been back. You haven't stopped, so
it's been a whirlwind. It has been a busy month.
So. Well, you enjoy your time, and it's great seeing you. So
thank you.
Thank you to everyone. I hope you'll come back again next week. I'm going to leave you with this one. There's lots in this. This one's called Coast to Coast. Long ago, when I could see like everybody else, I didn't have much time to think about others, just myself. It's strange now that the less I see, it seems the more I can. For first time in my life, I have a sense of who I am. The world I view is fading, soon the sight I have will pass. Spent days gone by complaining, now I live each day like last. The smallest things appreciate, bedtime stories with my son. No need for life's material things to feel like I have won. My greatest of achievements are the things you cannot see. It started with a simple song, my Stand By Me RP. The music and the poetry that pours straight from my heart has reached across the oceans, and it's still only the start. My books are read by many, use the message that's inside to show us that we're not alone, no need for us to hide. For losing independence is a temporary thing. I'll change these misconceptions with each lyric that I sing. So all you out there listening, I'm asking for your hand to tell the world about my words, to help them understand. Our eyesight may be dying, but we still see more than most. Each VIP's incredible. Spread the word from coast to coast. So help me raise awareness, heal a heart, and fears allay. Share a poem from this blind poet for tomorrow's World Sight Day.
Oh, it's incredible. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
Really nice. Really nice. And I feel an incredible way to, an appropriate way to end this call tonight. And I want to thank everyone for joining us. It's great to see some the regular faces, some new faces, and just continue to spread the word. Stay tuned for some incredible more announcements, and we look forward to seeing you next week. And anything else, Dave?
And, well, I can just say, lined up over the next few weeks, a very special guest is coming. I've spoken to her earlier today. Rebecca Alexander will be over the next few weeks, so nice. Stay tuned for that.
Nice. And thank you, Dave Epstein, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Dave.
As well.
Definitely my pleasure, all.
And hope you're enjoying Charm City. And I look forward to seeing the team back in Baltimore next week.
Yes,
and
sir.
I wish everyone a wonderful evening.
Be well, be safe.
Take care.
Y'all be safe out there.
Take care, Travis.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Dave. Love the poetry.
See you next week.
Fox.
See ya.